The Mets' dream of winning the World Series turned out to be just that, a dream, as the Kansas City Royals beat the Mets 4-1 to win their first title since 1985.
We'll have all the postmortem on the disappointing conclusion to a great Mets season, and Dr. Disco will help you get through your grief. We'll also bring on Joe Botagna to talk about the series and the 2015 baseball season.
And in our Did You Hear About segment, we have stories from the Philippines as boxer Manny Pacquiao is making a transition to a basketball player. Another soccer referee is involved in violence in South America. And wait until you hear what was going on in the stands at a Redskins game. Does the song Afternoon Delight mean anything to you?
The best hour of your sports week is coming up on Glory Days right now.
EatReview.com.
Hello again, everybody. Today is Saturday, November 7th, 2015, and you are watching The Glory Days Show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Discofani. This is my good friend, Bruce Oler. Kyle Melnick and Eric Mikhailov are behind the glass, and you are joining us on the Enravio TV network, broadcasting live from Studio C in the great state of New York. Good morning, my friend.
How are you?
I'm
Yeah, I know.
Getting over things.
Little depressed. I know. Sunday was a tough week for us, Met fans. Starting with Sunday, actually, it was a tough day for being a New York sport fan in general. I think Sunday.
I think everybody lost.
Everybody lost. But before we get to, I guess, the Mets thing, I want to tell you that is Donald Trump going to be on Saturday Night Live tonight?
Saturday Night Live tonight, yeah.
I had a Donald Trump moment yesterday.
Did you really?
I did.
Did you yell at Mexican immigrants?
No, I'll tell you what happened. I told you I was on a business trip. I was up to Lowell, Massachusetts, and I had a ferry crossing at 4:45. I barely made the ferry.
Okay.
Got on, went up to the lounge, got a Sam Adams, and walked up to the observation deck. Okay. Last night, that wind was blowing. I don't know how fast it was blowing, but it was blowing hard, and we were going right into it. So I'm holding my beer, and the wind is taking it out of the cup.
Really?
Yeah. So I had to chug the thing, got it all over my hands. I go downstairs to wash up. I look at myself in the mirror. My hair is all over the place like Donald Trump, man,
Were you able to, did you just go, I'm huge?
I didn't do anything, man. I just said, Jesus. I think I walked past, God, half the people who are on the ferry. I said, you must be thinking,
You imagine what you look like walking from, you look probably more like Bernie Sanders.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Saturday Night Live tonight.
Should be good.
Last time Donald Trump was on was like 2004.
A reality TV star.
It was a big, the big thing was The Apprentice at the time.
I was thinking about this, and they talked about the 2015 Cubs and how, it was in the movie Back to the Future.
Yes.
If you remember, the other thing that happened there is, okay, tell me who the president is, Ronald Reagan, the actor?
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah, that's right.
Donald Trump, the reality TV star? Ha!
Well, it's kind of tough to look at like the Republican field right now and say, you know what, that guy would make a good president. We're putting up a lot.
It's a crapshoot.
I still think Chris Christie would be a good president. Just because how great would it be to have Ralph Cramden in the Oval Office?
Yeah. Who's going to be Ed Norton? That's what I want to know.
Jeb Bush would be Ed Norton.
Oh my God! All right. We should copyright that idea, okay?
You know what?
What's that?
There he is.
You see the similarity?
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, guys.
Now, it's good to laugh again, Met fans.
Yeah, that's right. That's
you know,
right.
last week on this here program, we were all about.
Let's see. Well, that was after Game 3, right?
It was after Game 3.
So
They had won Game 3.
the Mets were down 2-1. They killed. That's the only game they
was the only
they
game
won,
that they
and they
played
actually
well.
won in convincing style.
Yes, they did. And after that game, we've had pretty good feelings
Yeah.
about that. And you know, there's a lot of different things that go on, I guess, during the course of a series, and you know, a lot of lamenting when you lose. You know, it's just facts are facts. You know, baseball is there's one sport where there's no place to hide in baseball. Okay, in football, once you get the lead, you could play differently. Okay, you could play not to lose. Okay, you could play conservative. You could burn the clock. Because now what you're doing is you're just running out the time. Okay.
Well, that's true.
In basketball, it's the same thing. You know,
Yeah,
you
there's
get
a clock
24
element.
seconds. All you got to do is just
there's a
rebound.
clock element,
And what
okay.
do? They foul you. As long as you make your free throws, you're going to win that game. Hockey may be a little bit more different
Well,
than hockey.
again,
but again, hockey.
all
it's
the
a-
sports,
Right.
there's a clock involved.
Right, and what you're doing is you're changing your philosophy as to how you played the game. A lot of times, you know, we know as Jet fans that doesn't always work. You know, but in baseball, there's no place to hide.
27 outs.
You want to win a game. That's what you need to do. You have to get all 27 outs. You don't get 27 outs, you cannot win a game. End of story.
Okay.
You know, and I guess the Mets found out that, you know, what everybody in baseball really knows, the hardest outs to get in baseball are the last 3.
Yeah.
You know, Mets went into Game 1 with a lead in the 9th inning, Game 4 with a lead in the 8th inning, and Game 5 with a 2-0 lead in the 9th inning. Now,
And they lost all those games.
I have to tell you, and you know, I guess maybe we'll talk about the games, but going into that 5th game, okay, I was one of the people with everybody else yelling for Matt Harvey to come back out in that 9th inning with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, well,
know it
I wasn't
probably
with you, but I'll tell you what, I thought it was a bad move.
you know,
And I think he's a bully. I really do, you know.
I don't know if he's a bully.
He's
but
a
he
bully.
certainly is.
This guy,
Oh, no, you know what it is?
he's a me guy, man. He's the me generation.
He's selfish.
Yeah.
He's a selfish ball player, always was.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that earlier in the year with the Scott Boras thing and him taking himself out of the game and stuff like that. But
He's got a good-looking girlfriend, though, okay?
yeah, he's got a really good looking. Maybe we get a picture of Matt Harvey's girlfriend. No, just kidding. At any rate, he was pitching great up to that point.
Yeah.
There was no reason to believe that he couldn't have pitched that 9th inning.
Well, but there's 2 things there, okay? You know, even if you let him bully you into letting him go out for the 9th, okay? He should only been that one batter, and that was it.
That's it. What I would have said, I mean, again, I've bashed Terry Collins before, but I came around to him.
It's, you know, and if you're getting out, we'll let you go one
Right.
more.
You get an out, you go one more. You get 2 outs, you get another batter.
Yeah.
Okay? And maybe you get a 4th batter after you get 2 outs. But you walk the first guy, you're done, finished, history.
I mean, you were watching
Out.
the game, and the commentators were saying the same thing. You know,
Oh,
how can
really?
he not be out of this game?
Right.
How can he not be out of this game?
That was the whole thing. Now, again, you know, there's so many other factors going on.
I'm intrigued about, though, we're going to talk about the 5 states of grief.
Okay.
Are we going to get there? Okay.
The doctor is in.
Okay, all right.
Now, will you just lay down on this countertop for me?
I will not do that.
Okay. Well, we're not set up for that.
Okay.
No. All right. So it took me days to get over this. I want you to know. First of all, I left the building.
Yeah.
I left the building in the top of the inning.
Oh,
Not
you
after
did
they
before the
gave
game
up-
was over.
Not even. I didn't even stay for the bottom of the inning. Not when they gave up the first run. Mm-hmm. When Murphy made the error and the second run score, I grabbed my stuff and I was with, you know, James and Kevin and blah blah blah, and Michael, and I just said, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to watch this. And I went downstairs, and I says, I'll just stand in the vestibule here, and they had TV. James was down there with me. He couldn't. He's just like me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We were so mad.
Well, I
at
know
this
we
point.
talked about this even last week. That how nervous you get. I mean, I don't. I guess I'm just not that kind of a fan.
He's as
I guess.
bad
I don't
as
know.
me. So, Michael and Kevin stayed. So we were watching the game, and downstairs we watched it on TV for a minute, and as soon as we saw the double, said that's it,
Yeah.
leaving. So we were walking out, and I kind of just gave him a hug, and I said, listen, I'm sorry that I cursed you with this
With this malady.
with this malady, And
Okay.
he said it's not that they lost, and I thought it was very insightful what he said. He said this was a golden opportunity. He said we snuck up on everyone. He says we had a great pitching staff. He says next year maybe we'll still have a good pitching staff, but you never know. You don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen with injuries.
It's lightning in a
and
bottle
whatever.
is what it is.
Right.
It always. I shouldn't say it always is, but
he said,
a
but
lot of
next
times
year,
it is.
but next year, the Pirates, the Cubs, and the Cardinals, they're going to be good again.
Yeah.
So the only way you get into the playoffs is winning your division. And are the Nationals going to lay down and die again next year? You don't know. So he said that's what he just felt this was a tremendous
and he's right about
missed
that.
opportunity.
The reason why it didn't bother me is I really thought that basically it wasn't like, and actually, I guess when you're talking about it, the Mets had leads in 3 of these games.
Yeah.
I really didn't feel that
think
any
it-
time they had a lead that we were safe. I really thought, it was kind of like us playing the Yankees. We knew they were going to catch you the second or third at bat, and that's what they did the entire series. I really felt that they were just totally outplayed. I mean, and what it comes down to now is, how are the Mets going to treat this? Is like we got close and we're satisfied with that, or you know what, we got to go for it all. We got to be all in again
Got
next
to
year.
be all in again. You have to, and that's hard to do.
It is. It is.
So psychologists say there
Should I
are
lay down now? Yeah. Okay.
psychologists say there's five like degrees
Okay.
of grief.
Okay.
And you have to get over all 5 of them. It doesn't matter what order.
One of them's got to be acceptance of what happened. Is that number one?
Well, let's just start with them.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't matter what order, but I don't see how you get to acceptance until you get to all the other ones.
Like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, okay? With
is that?
self-actualization.
What the hell
I'll
is
give
that?
you a lecture, but that's some other time, okay? All right.
Maybe you should be the doctor.
It's all about behavior. It's all about behavior.
All right, so the first thing is, of course, denial.
Denial. Okay.
Right? The first thing is
All right.
is denial.
That's,
okay?
that's a river in Africa,
How
right?
could
Okay.
the Mets lose?
Yeah.
They had leads in 3 of the 4 games that they lost.
Sure.
Okay? The Royals couldn't possibly beat Matt Harvey twice, and DeGrom, and Syndergaard. It's just not possible, okay? They gave away game 1, but that wasn't going to happen again.
Yeah.
Game 4 was an aberration because Murphy made an error in the 8th inning. That's not going to happen again. Of course it did. Okay. And Harvey was pitching a shutout in Game 5. Of course
now,
he's
the other
coming
thing you
back
didn't
out,
mention
and he's
here
going to finish it and
was
shut
the
them out.
implosion of the bullpen.
Well, if we win that Game 5, we're going back to Kansas City with DeGrom and Syndergaard. But again, denial.
Yeah.
So what comes next?
I peaked.
Anger.
I peaked. It was anger. That's right.
So now you're angry. First of all, you're denying that it happens, and now you get angry.
So you're saying,
Okay?
so we got to find somebody to blame?
No
Okay,
blame.
all right.
Not blaming.
Okay.
But no one individual person. But Game 5, winning 1-0, bases loaded, nobody outs. You only score 1 run.
Yeah.
It made me angry. Cespedes looked more like a soccer player in the outfield than a center fielder. Okay.
Let's talk about him, too, about being somebody that's selfish. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He hits that ball off of his knee. He's down there like a wounded duck.
Right.
He pops up, You know the guy can't run.
Well, can I
and
ask-
why the hell did they let him bat?
Why would the
Because he
Met-
bullied his way into doing it again. You know?
And why would the Met training staff not say, listen, before you swing that bat, just do me a favor, just jog down to first base? Because right after he hit the ball, he couldn't move.
No, that's right. If he put that ball in play, he was out of first base no matter what.
It would have been a triple
Yeah.
play if he put the ball in play.
Exactly right.
But can Travis d'Arnaud throw one guy out Every single turned into a double. Every walk turned into a double late in the game. They weren't doing it in the first and the second inning. How come they were doing it at the end of the game?
So that's an interesting question there, because what do you do with him? He's a good batter.
Well, he's good,
Okay. But you know, I mean, the Mets have a couple of good catches though, too.
But what about, all right, let's just take the John Belushi Animal House. Kadire, dead. Clippard, dead.
You say that just about everybody, can't you? Except for Curtis Granderson.
Except for Curtis Granderson, who turns out Curtis Granderson was playing with a torn ligament in his thumb.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he hit 3 home runs.
Yeah. You over your anger?
And what
Are
about...
you over your anger?
No. And what about Uribe?
Yeah.
The guy is the new Rusty Staub for us.
Yeah.
And what is he doing? He pinch hits once. In the entire series, he pinch hits once.
So you married Terry Collins then, too?
Yes. You know what? They didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. That, to me, is what made me...
Well, yeah. Or you could look at basically that the Royals took advantage of just about every opportunity. I mean, they made a couple of mistakes, too, but, you know, their mistakes they overcame. Or it didn't matter because it was a game they were going to lose anyway.
The next step is called bargaining.
Bargaining?
Bargaining.
I don't get that.
Just about everything you bargain with starts with the word if.
Okay.
Okay? If we don't allow Clippard to walk 2 batters, right, maybe we win that game. If we don't let Cespedes hit after fouling off that pitch, maybe Uribe comes in and pinch hits a single, and all of a sudden it's 3-0, the inning's continuing, and we're doing great.
Yeah.
If Harvey and DeGrom pitch to their strengths, which was fastballs, maybe we win.
Yeah.
Maybe we split one. We take one of those games.
Walt said the Queen, if I had him, I'd be king.
That's exactly
you
right.
know?
So we were depressed.
Yeah.
Then we got angry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. We weren't depressed. We were in denial.
Yeah.
Then we got
Anger.
angry. We bargained. Now bargaining doesn't work. So what comes next? You're depressed.
Okay.
Okay. Now what? Like my son says, this was a great opportunity to win everything.
He's right. He's definitely right about that.
You know what I mean? In 1986, the Mets won 108 games in the regular season. And then the next year, because of injuries, you never know what's going to happen. They don't make the playoffs.
I mean, he's right. I mean, you know, when you get to the dance, you know, you gotta. What do you do with it at the dance?
Cespedes, Murphy, Colon, key pieces to our team are going to be free agents. We may not even see them next year. This might be an entirely different infield next year. They go out and get somebody to play short.
Yeah.
And of course, the last thing is you finally
Acceptance.
come to accept. You finally come to accept.
So are you there now?
Well, you know what? There's not a single thing you could say or do
That's
going
right.
to get
It's gonna
us to
change it all.
Kansas City for Game 6.
Yeah.
Nothing. You know what I mean? So just,
So it's ironic.
you know what you have to do?
You know what's ironic though? The Mets are going to open in Kansas City next year,
and we're going to watch them.
Oh my God! Well, and I think that's good. If you really are that hungry, you want to see that and have it, you know, just flaunted in front of you. I think.
I mean, I know they lost, but just try. You know, when you're grieving, you try to remember the good times. Okay. Did you remember that smile on your face and that bounce in your step when they made the playoffs? When they finally got to the playoffs after Cincinnati, and then the nervousness of that Game 5 against the Dodgers and the sweeping of the Cubs. How great was that? Go into those.
It was a great season.
You know,
but
go into the playoff
ultimately
games.
unfulfilling.
Yeah, I guess. But, you know, going to the playoff games, waving the towels, and it was just so exciting to go to a baseball game again.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we waited 15 years for World Series. You know, we're hoping
Hopefully
that we
we
don't have
not
to
wait
wait for another 15. You know, in the last 2 World Series, the Mets are 2-8. And they just can't seem to do it on the big stage. Wait a minute, you know what? I think I'm in denial.
Okay. We come full circle here.
All right. We're just getting started here on the Glory Day Show. Right after break, we'll get to Joe Battaglia on the phone, and we'll talk about the World Series. I can see what an outsider thinks of the World Series. And we'll wrap up the baseball season. Later on, we'll get into a few sports-related stories in our Did You Hear About segment. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show. Bruce Disco only on the Radio TV Network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
It's always been important to us to have music a part of our lives, part of our children's lives. At Village Music Shop, Bonnie and Chuck have not only made it possible for our kids to learn and understand and read music and enjoy playing a musical instrument, but they've also made it fun.
I really like coming here. I like coming to Village Music because everybody here is nice.
And they've inspired some creativity and imagination and taught them discipline. And along the way, they've gotten some self-confidence, really been like a part of our family.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Radio TV network. Our next correspondent comes to us from the great state of Wisconsin, but every time he appears on his program, he's usually somewhere else in the world. He's a baseball columnist from the websites A View from the Bench and Around the Horn Talk. Around the Horn Talk, okay.
Around the Horn Talk.
Please welcome back to the program, and who knows from where, Joe Montagna. Joe, are you there?
I am here. How you doing?
Good.
Joe,
So
where are
calling
you
from us
today?
man?
I'm actually up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, visiting
Wisconsin.
my daughter and son-in-law in a place that's even colder than Kiel, Wisconsin. We got a little bit of snow last night.
Really?
Oh, you did. Oh, we don't want to hear that. You know what? You know what it was like in New York this week? We had 72-degree temperature this week.
Not bad. It was actually pretty nice in Wisconsin as well, and then kind of the bottom fell out, as often happens here in November. We had 70s as well during the week.
Oh, really? And now you go.
Yeah.
So you go from 70s to snow.
Oh, yeah. One of the things they say about here in the Midwest, especially those of us that live near the lake, is if you don't like the weather, just wait a while. It'll probably change.
So thoughts on the baseball season? Let's, I guess, start with the World Series. You know, I think the Mets really got it handed to them. They lost in 5 games. But from an outsider's perspective, what do you think of the series?
I was really amazed, first of all, at how good the Royals team is, top to bottom, side to side, and how just determined they were. I mean, this is a team on a mission, and they just weren't going to lose. They just kept coming back, and I mean, you know, I expected the Mets to win it in 6 games, and my comment was, superior pitching normally wins in series like this, and they just would not be beaten by what I still think is superior pitching. They attacked. They would string together singles and doubles and knock in runs, and they just never gave up. It was, you know, you posted that comment from Galaxy Quest, that never give up, never surrender. And, you know, unfortunately, they listened to you, man.
The wrong team listened to me, though.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
as I was putting that thing together, I kept thinking to myself, "Gee, you know, this applies more to them than it does to us."
That's right.
But you know, Joe, you're right. We've always said good pitching beats good hitting. But here's the problem with good pitching. The problem with good pitching is you have to pitch good.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a good pitcher. It's another
Right.
thing to be able to pitch good all the time. You know?
Right.
And I think that's where, you know, I think the Mets got a little frustrated in the fact that
They fouled
in
the
the
ball
fact
off.
that they kept fouling balls off, they
Yeah, they
kept
spoiled
putting
the
balls
pitch.
in play. You know what? We knew we had a bad defense. You know, that's why we won so many games, was because we struck out a lot of guys. You know, and the Mets did make, at least the Mets would make routine plays, and they'd make, but in the World Series, there were some of the plays that they did not make were routine plays.
But the other thing you say, though, is, you know, that they had to pitch good. But you know what? All these guys were in uncharted territory as far as number of innings they pitched.
Yeah.
And I really think that's, you know, that's key to what happened here, too. They need to stay healthy next year, obviously, to be able to, you know, have the same kind of success.
You know, Joe, I really thought that watching those last couple of games, I don't know about, I know as a fan, I was almost out of gas. So I can imagine that they might have been too. It's a, I joke about it, but I don't know how the Yankee fans do it year after year after year. How do you do it every year?
It's a good problem to have, though, isn't it?
You know, Joe.
It is
Joe,
a nice problem to have. I wish we had it on the south side of Chicago or in Milwaukee.
You know, Joe, out here on Long Island back in the '80s, the Islanders won 4 straight Stanley Cups. And in order to win those 4 straight Stanley Cups, they won 19 consecutive playoff series. And they wound up playing an entire year, an entire extra season. So in 4 years, they played 5 seasons, you know?
Right.
And that's something difficult. That's why teams, I'm not saying that teams don't repeat, but you know, when the Yankees were winning those consecutive World Series, and even Montreal winning the consecutive Cups, they were just playing 2 series. You know, they're playing 12, 14 extra games at the end of the year, not, you know, 14 games to get to the World Series.
It's all about stamina as well.
Yeah, and I, you know, again, Joe, I'm proud of this team, but I guess we were disappointed.
Well, you have to be. You have to be. But there were a lot of good stories, I think. You know, as you said, some of the teams that made that leap, they're going to be good again next year. I think Houston was a good story.
Yeah.
You know, Pittsburgh, Chicago Cubs, they played great. I mean, you know, the Mets swept them, but they had a great year.
Yeah, I think one of the really positive things for me, at least as a baseball fan, is that it's pretty apparent that a lot of teams have figured out the economic model, and that, you know, you gotta, you know, if you're not there, you gotta strip it down to the studs. You gotta trade away anything that has value. You've got to get young players. You got to get good prospects, and that means you've got to have good analytics to really figure out which prospects have a high probability of being successful versus not.
So you're a consultant, is that right? Because I heard you mention analytics, so I guess that kind of.
I know that's a cuss word in some circles. But
I didn't say that.
I'm too much of a stats geek to not be able to recognize the value of it. I mean, I use the Moneyball as a resource in some of the corporate strategy courses that I teach.
I see.
Because it's an example of how a team can, basically an organization can have a sustainable competitive advantage through an internal competency, and the fact that you can basically figure out better than the other guys are which prospects are likely to be good plays right into this current economic model of basically getting yourself a bunch of young players who are good, who come together at the same time, who are going to be good, and then you fill in the holes with high-priced free agents, and then you go kick butt like the Mets did this year.
Or the Cubs. Cubs had kind of great nucleus there too.
You know, the difference between the Cubs and the Mets is that the Cubs' young players are all position players.
Yeah. Well, and you know, as you said, that cliche about good pitching stops good hitting, that was certainly true in that series.
Absolutely.
You know, it wasn't true in the World Series, you know.
And you know, Joe, I think we talked about this once before on the program about how the Cardinals, year after year, seem to be able to follow that model. Bring up the young players at the right time, draft young players. You know, the draft is a crapshoot. You know, they draft, what is it, like 100 rounds of drafting or something that baseball does? You know, where are you finding somebody other than, you know, Mike Piazza was like a 66th round pick or something. Right,
and that's the key of the, you know, this it's kind of like baseball itself. You know, if you bat 200 for your career, you know, they talk about you being, you know, at the Mendoza line. If you bat over 300, you're probably headed to the Hall of Fame. And the prospect game is in baseball is kind of the same. You're trying to get that batting average up as far as your success rate of picking up from very low to a little bit less low, which means that you're going to generally pick up more good players than the other guy, and collectively you're going to have a better chance of having a roster that's going to come together at a given point in time for 2 or 3 or 4 years under team control. That's going to be competitive, and the Cardinals, I think, figured this out a long time ago and have been doing it. But the only other successful teams were the ones that had big dollars. I've got an article that I'm working on for the blog that I hope to post this week, which looking at the payrolls of all the teams starting the season, and the very top teams, from among the top teams, the only ones that really made any noise playoff-wise were the Yankees, who got dumped in the first round, and the Angels, who the Mets knocked out in the first round of the National League Series. And all the other teams were from the middle to the bottom of the payroll. So, that old model just doesn't work anymore. The model that we're talking about does.
So the Mets' future obviously looks bright.
Mm-hmm.
I just, we were talking earlier about how everything really, in order for you to make the playoffs, everything has to break right for you too.
Yes.
You have to win games that you're not supposed to win. The other team has to. The teams.
Look what happened in Washington. They were the odds-on favorite to dominate not just the East, but the whole National League.
That's right. They were supposed to win everything.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So, Joe, what do you think? The Mets are all of a sudden the Mets and the Cubs are the favorites to win the World Series.
And the thing that bothers me though is I don't know why they're not talking about making a trade. Trading a pitcher for a shortstop, man.
Right.
Let's just get that done, and we'll see you in September or October again, man.
Well, I don't know. It's the both of those teams are going to have to make smart moves in order to retain that role as favorites. I fully expect. Theo FC, I think you've heard me say this about the Theo, is that he knows that having broken the curse of the Bambino in Boston, if he manages to break the curse of the Billy Goat in Chicago, the following morning Cooperstown will be calling to have him come up and be fitted for his bust. Okay?
Oh my goodness, you're right.
So, so he's not going to sit still. He's going to try to get what he needs, and what he needs is starting pitching. So I think he's going to make some very, very big moves in the off season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a really, really hard play for Greinke, for example.
We were talking before about free agents and stuff, and where do you think some of the top free agents are going to land?
Well, the haven't really thought about that as much, other than in the context of these teams that are really in following. I really expect to see to Greinke. That the Yankees are probably going to make a play for him. The Dodgers will attempt to keep him, and as I said, I think the Cubs are going to go and try to get him. They're going to try to basically try to get a couple of more really, really strong arms on that roster, because they know that what hurt them was that once they got past their top two starters,
they had nothing.
It was a pretty big drop off there. But I think it'll begin to crystallize here over the next couple of weeks.
I guess Greinke is really the big fish that's out there, right?
And
I
Price
guess
too.
David Price is out there. Yeah.
Price, and I'm really kind of interested in where Cespedes lands. I think he might land back in Detroit because the Mets are not going to pay him
According to the
what he
Post, I
wants.
think he's going to wind up in San Francisco.
Oh, I don't want to see him in the National League. I just don't want to see him in the ballpark anymore. If he's not going to play on my team, I don't want to see him. I don't want the guy going out and hitting 45 home runs for another team.
Yeah, I think the place that's ideal for him is Miami, with the Cuban population. But, they got Stanton down there who's making a ton of money. They're not going to take on 2 large contracts, I don't think.
All righty, Joe, we're running out of time. Listen, thanks for all your help.
And we'll look for your analysis on the blog there using informatics and analytics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Have a good day, guys.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
Bye-bye.
And congrats on getting as far as the Mets did this year.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you know what? We're proud of it. We're just a little disappointed, and I'm sure sometime in December we'll really be much more proud of it.
Yep.
I'm sure you will.
Thanks,
Good job.
Joe.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's take another break here on the Glory Day Show. When we get back, we'll have some stories about that you may or may not have heard in our Did You Hear About segment. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show here with Bruce and Disco, only on the Radio TV Network. Coming right back.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, this is Chris Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce Disco here on the Radio TV Network. If you are a sports fan, and why would you be watching this show?
If you're not.
If you're not. You know that you can get all the scores and highlights instantly from other sources on the internet, like ESPN. But here on the Glory Day Show, we pride ourselves on trying to find the types of stories that would interest you, our twisted yet sophisticated audience. The bizarre, the maudlin, the humorous, and of course, the completely ridiculous. We call this segment, Did You Hear About?
A very nice introduction there, Disco.
Thank you.
Our first story is
I
about a
work hard on
famous
that
boxer you may have heard about before. Did you hear about WBO welterweight boxer Manny Pacquiao and his recent adventures? Pacquiao was last seen in May of 2015, where he fought the undefeated Floyd Mayweather in what was billed as the fight of the century. Of course, the fight was a stinker, won by Mayweather in a unanimous decision. Pacquiao essentially chased Mayweather around for 12 rounds, but Pacquiao maintains his godlike status in his home country of the Philippines to this day. Did you know at the age of 32, he was also a member of the Philippine House of Representatives? I can't say I knew that. He was reelected in 2013 and is serving his second term as a congressman. You may also not know that he made his professional basketball debut in the Philippines in 2014. The 5'6" Pacquiao started the game for the newly formed Kia Sorrento of the PBA, playing only 7 minutes, in which he committed 2 turnovers and did not score any points in a game won by Kia over the Blackwater Elite. Now, why, you may ask, would any coach start a 5'6" professional boxer in a professional basketball game that has 0 experience?
I asked that question.
Well, that's because Pacquiao is the coach. The boxing icon joined the pro league as a player coach after being the 11th player drafted in the first round. He then played himself in a preseason game, finishing with 1 point and 2 turnovers in about 10 minutes of playing time. Well, a year later, he scored his first basket as a professional, playing for his new team, the Maharinda Enforcers. Pacquiao finally found the bottom of the net for his first 2 points as a professional basketball player after not scoring a field goal in his first season.
He went the whole year without scoring a field goal.
That's unbelievable. So earlier in the year, Daniel Ordo, an American basketball player, was bounced out of the Philippine Basketball Association for insulting the boxer. Many were comparing insulting Pacquiao to insulting Dr. Martin Luther King. Wow.
Yeah.
The administrator of Orton's former team, the Pure Feuds Hotshots, said everyone is angry at him. So what did Orton say? Basically, he said just what everybody else was thinking about the shortest player in the league, that Pacquiao isn't any good at basketball. Professional boxer? Yeah, okay. Professional basketball player? No, it's a joke. The Hotshots held Pacquiao to just 1 point that day. No one has seen Orton to this day. Maybe the professional basketball congressman thing will work out for him after all. Pacquiao said he would also quit boxing next year so he can concentrate on running for the Senate in the Philippines.
You know, he's like a, I can't remember, what's that guy, Roberto Duran? Remember Roberto Duran? Right?
No Mas?
No Mas, right. That guy, no matter what he did, he could do no wrong.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with Pacquiao. They love him. This guy ran for Congress. He ran for Congress and he lost. And they were claiming the election was fixed and the whole thing. And then he ran again and he won. He's a 2-term congressman there.
I tell you,
he's got one more fight, and he said, "That's it. I'm just going to have one more."
I
fight.
would be worried about him giving a hard foul. That's what I'd be worried about.
Could you imagine? He's just going to punch you in the face.
Boom!
What happens? 2 free throws.
I know.
And maybe he gets ejected, like you're losing a star player off the field, right?
Not a 5'6".
All right. In our second story, now, Mr. B, you've been to NFL football games, right?
I have.
Okay.
I've been with you.
I'm just setting you up.
Okay.
Then you know that watching a game from an upper level end zone seat is sometimes a problem, especially when the game action is happening 100 yards away at the other end zone. Most end zone fans learn to cheer for the end of the first and third quarters when the action is on the opposite end of the field, because they know that once the quarter expires, the team's reverse ends of the field and the action comes back down to their end, right?
Remember when we sat low for those Shea Stadium games the Jets were playing? You'd always say, "Show us the ball.
Right,
Get
exactly.
down here." You know?
Exactly. But sometimes the action is actually in the stands.
Okay. Oh, in the stands.
Did you hear about the case of a Washington Redskin fan who was photographed standing in the end zone, leaning against the tabletop counter railing, casually taking in the halftime show? But if you look closer, there's a girl underneath the counter smoking his Johnson. According to the fan that took the picture, the man wearing the Redskin jersey of Sean Taylor was with a group of people at the Washington Redskins Tampa Bay game at FedEx Field a few weeks ago. He claims that the guy in his own personal Monica Lewinsky had been drinking heavily with the rest of the people in the group and had been fairly inappropriate during most of the game, including motorboating the woman while her clothes were on. By halftime, things seemed to have gotten out of hand. The couple was standing next to each other and making out between sips of Budweiser when she, began slurping his gherkin. "We noticed the girl stumbled to the ground and didn't get back up," the man said. All you saw was head movement from our angle.
Oh, jeez.
In the picture, you could see his pants are lower than normal. It stopped when someone came up to them and said, "Get a room." Now, you would think if you are a grown man wearing a football jersey, it would be tough to get women to talk to you, nonetheless play your rusty trombone. Not so at a Washington Redskin game, apparently, the original home of Deep Throat. According to our observer, another guy in the same group had a different woman playing his skin flute later in the game. The Redskins were getting blown out by the Bucs 24-7 at halftime.
Blown out, huh? Okay.
That's the one you picked up on? I guess you could have just packed your bags and gone home early. Or you could just lower your pants and get a knobber in broad daylight and then regroup. Good thing he stayed. The Redskins came back in the second half and won 31-30.
That's amazing.
And you thought watching the Red Zone channel was better than going to the game. By the way, I'm going to the Jet game tomorrow.
Are you?
Yes, I am. And I'm
Who
going
you
to be
going
sitting
with?
in the end zone. I can't say.
Okay.
Could you imagine?
I
Talk about the
can't-
kiss cam. Speechless, huh?
I am. I don't know what to say. I mean, I could see if it was a little later in the year, maybe you got the blanket going or something like that. But in broad daylight there, that's
Broad daylight,
it's mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling.
But it makes for great TV.
Yeah. One more story? We
One
got
more
time for one more
story. We got
story?
time for one more.
All right. Finally, today, back in 2013, we on the Glory Day show reported to you the horrific story of a Brazilian soccer referee who, during the course of an argument on the field with a player he had issued a red card to, took out a knife and stabbed the player twice. On the way to the hospital, the player unfortunately died of his injuries. The friends and family of the dead player then returned to the soccer pitch, where they proceeded to lynch the referee, decapitating him and then putting the severed head on a stake, planting it in the middle of the field for all to see. Unbelievable. Last month, the soccer world was set abuzz by images of yet another shocking incident in Brazilian soccer. Referee brandished a gun after he got into an argument with the team manager in an amateur league game. The referee, Gabriel Murta, a police officer by trade, was allegedly assaulted by the members of the visiting team, Amantes de Bola, before he went into the locker room and returned with his gun.
Murta claims to have been slapped by Amante's manager and his substitutes after they demanded a red card for a player on the Brumadinho squad. Murta reacted to the attack like any normal game official would by going into the locker room and returning with his gun. According to the Mirror, when Murta returned to the pitch and was confronted again, he wasted no time in pulling out the gun, keeping it down to his side, but visible for all to see. A fellow official restrained Murta, who eventually returned to the locker room and put away his gun. Amazingly, he returned to the pitch to officiate the rest of the match. The commissioner of the Brazilian Referees Association, Juliano Bozano, said that Murta will undergo a psychological assessment before facing a potential suspension or a lifetime ban. What's happened is obviously not a common occurrence, and I don't want to rush into anything. Well,
of course not.
Why would they want to rush to judgment?
Right.
Apparently,
never
it's
want
not
to
a
do it.
common occurrence for the referee to...
I got somewhere I got to go.
The referee is showing his gun, and other fans are decapitating referees.
Yeah. But let's not rush to judgment
Let's
here.
not rush to judgment. We just want to make sure that we treat this man with respect.
Yeah, well, it's all about that, man. It's all about political correctness now, right?
Well, I wonder if, Brazilian referee is up there with, the most dangerous jobs in the world.
Yeah, that's right. Most dangerous jobs,
Let's see, what's his name, that guy, Mike Rowe, that does dirty jobs?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see him be a Brazilian referee.
But I thought there was a most dangerous jobs there.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's usually the
Or maybe
fishing
the
thing,
deadliest
right?
catch, I
They're
guess,
right.
or something like that,
He's fishing on a boat and
Yeah.
stuff. I guess this is worth.
Unbelievable.
We're almost out of time here on the Glory Days Show. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will wrap up with the weekend. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Days Show with Bruce Disco, only on the Radio TV network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
It's always been important to us to have music a part of our lives, part of our children's lives. At Village Music Shop, Bonnie and Chuck have not only made it possible for our kids to learn and understand and read music and enjoy playing a musical instrument, but they've also made it fun.
I really like coming here. I like coming to Village Music because everybody here is nice.
And they've inspired some creativity and imagination and taught them discipline. And along the way, they've gotten some self-confidence, really been like a part of our family.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the InRavio TV network. Well, what did we learn today?
Well, first of all, I'm glad we have enough time to really talk about what we learned today. Okay, we were a little ahead of schedule, which is good, because what I found out is that you need to check your sources before you write copy. Okay.
No.
Okay, we won't talk about
That's what makes it good. Well, I'll tell you what. I really think that we should make a trip to FedEx Field in Washington to go see a football game. I think that might be an interesting outing for the Glory Days show. Would you guys like to come with us there in the booth? We could go as a group.
Road trip. Make it a road trip, man.
To FedEx Field. Nah.
I guess what I learned is I look a little bit more like Donald Trump than I thought I did. You know?
Well, you learn to stay out of the wind.
Well, I hope I did.
That's why Donald Trump wears baseball hats.
There he is. There's my man again.
Could he really be the next president?
I really love a lot of things that he says. I agree with a lot of things, but he's not presidential material. He never will be.
But what is presidential material?
I am presidential material. Okay.
You're trying to find out what rusty trombone is.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Did you get me an official definition of that?
We did get, when I wanted to take it there a couple of minutes ago, I got the look like, don't go there, man. But we did anyway,
I don't know. This is a...
Check your sources,
This
man.
show is deteriorating as we speak. But...
So I learned
could be
about the
worse.
5 states of denial, 5 states of...
Grief.
Grief, okay.
5 states of grief.
Yep.
And I believe that we Met fans are now at acceptance. I hope I was able to help you guys through some of this and get over it. So
It was good for me, too.
It was good. I felt good after going through them because you know what? You really do. After a while, you just sit there and go, you know what? It's just...
You can't do anything about it anyway,
And
It's over.
It's my philosophy of life has always been very simple. Don't worry about things you have no control over. And this is something that you have no control over.
Yep.
And what are you going to do? These things happen.
You
lose
said that's
it.
your philosophy. There's a couple other things I think I've heard you say over the years.
What's that?
Father's Day doesn't start till I get there.
That's
Okay,
exactly right.
we won't go into that one too much. Let's see. Short men can be tall, but tall men can never be short.
Tall men could never.
I'm not sure I understand that one. Okay.
Well, we could always wear heels if we had to.
The Pope is like the commissioner of baseball if you were a baseball player. Okay, that's another one of my favorite discoisms.
That is very true. And also, I love being a pessimist.
You do?
Yes. You know why?
Well, he who expects the worst is never disappointed.
I am never
That's one of my
disappointed,
favorite
no
lines.
matter what. So I'm a pessimist. I'm always disappointed. I'm never disappointed because I knew that.
So you were the
gonna
guy
happen.
walking around with that cloud over your head, or what? You know,
Like that Pigpen guy.
Yeah.
Like Pigpen
Well,
in the
Pigpen.
Peanuts
He had the cloud around because he didn't bathe. Okay.
No, he would take a shower and then the cloud would come back immediately.
Would it? Okay. Can you check that out? Then? Yeah. I'm not sure that's the thing there.
I don't know. I just, you know what? I have to say, though, it was great going to these World Series games. Even though, you know, in that Game 5,
Yeah.
Matt Harvey, I think he had 2 strikeouts in the first inning, if I remember. And then Curtis Granderson led off with a home run. I said, let's just go home.
Yeah.
Let's just go home right now. There is nothing that's going to
Doesn't
make
get
this
any
game
better than
any
this,
better
right?
than this. Let's just go home. But you know what? You're not going to win a lot of games with 2 hits when you get to the 8th inning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though you have a 2-0 lead. But baseball is such a great sport. It was a great, Met fans, it was a great season. We had a great time. Nobody could take away the fact that by the end of the year, there were only 2 teams standing and we were one of them. You know, I know people say, oh, well, would you have signed up for this at the beginning of the year? Of course you would have signed up for this at the beginning of the year. You know, and I think what bothers most Met fans is the fact that you look at it and you say, oh, I got to do it again next year.
Yeah, I mean, they were this close.
I'm starting again in April, and, you know, after a week, I'm going to have played 7 games out of 162. But hope springs eternal. Right?
And it will for us again. You know, the sun will also rise.
And the best part about the beginning of the baseball season, it means the end of the winter. That's the best part about the beginning of the baseball season.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Winter is over. You get through the winter, you batten down the hatches, you watch the Islanders for a little bit. And
glory days
Rangers,
on Saturday mornings.
Of course,
You know.
you've always got us. We will get you through this winter back to April. Or maybe March.
I think it's April. I think it's still April. Well,
February, right? February 15th. Pitchers and catchers report. It's only about 100 days. You know, so we're not in terrible shape. We can get through 100 days, don't you think?
Of course we can, especially if the Jets continue to play decent football.
And
the
we'll find out.
Islanders-
You know what? I'm going to be at the game tomorrow, so it'll be my first Jet game of the year.
You know who might also be there?
Who?
But they say he's going to slink in, and I always like that term, slink in and slink out.
Who?
John Idzik.
He's
He's
going to
got
be there
some
tomorrow?
kind of affiliation with who they play, the Jaguars?
Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All righty. You know what? We got to get out of here.
Let's do that.
Thanks to our producers, Kyle Melnick and Eric Mikhailov, for all their hard work and making us look so good out there. Thanks to our guest, Joe Battaglia, wherever you may be, for helping us out during this great baseball postseason. Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, putting up with this nonsense week after week. And, of course, thanks to you, our loyal viewers. Don't forget to check out the Glory Days on-demand page on www.enravio.com to watch any of our past shows or any of the other great shows on the enravio.com TV network. You know, you can also go back and watch this show on demand and just re-watch the Washington Redskins story. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. We will see you next time.